Hey, what's up, fam? Off duty here. Last week we talked about the L-shaped desk that I created using the Secret Labs Magnus Pro XL and the iconic Ikea Desk Hack. Today we're going to talk about my two PC streaming setup where I use my laptop computer for the streaming and my desktop computer for the gaming. So there's two things you're going to need, besides obviously the laptop for the streaming and the desktop for the gaming. You're going to need a capture card. I'm using the Elgato 4KX, and that's because I planned to stream in 4K for majority of my content. However, my internet had another story for me. It's capped at like 50 megabits per second or something like that. So I won't be able to do 4K all the time until I move around May. So for you, if you're streaming in 1080p, you can get a much cheaper one from Elgato or Amazon, wherever. But the second thing that you'll need is the Stream Deck Plus. This thing has made life a lot easier for me. And if you use an XLR mic like I do, I just get the Stream Deck Plus with the XLR combo. And it just goes into the back of the Stream Deck Plus. I can show y'all all about that here in a minute. Those two things are crucial. Now So I know there's free ways to do this. It's a little bit complicated for me, at least. So this is just simply the easiest way for me and one of the cheaper routes to be able to make the streaming happen between the two PCs. There's probably hundreds of ways to set up a successful stream. What I like about the two PC setup is my laptop's right here running all of the stream for me, and it's not taking away any performance that I have from my gaming experience. So I'm getting all the normal frames. I just have like OBS running in the background. It's not really doing anything to mess up the stream. So anyway, what we'll get started with real quick is we're going to just show the setup process for routing your cables, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty on the innards of making all of it function. But anyway, let's get to it. Go and grab your HDMI cable and give it a little bit of
and spit on that thing.
Put that into your HDMI out at the back of your graphics card on the PC. Run it up. Put the other end of the HDMI cord onto the HDMI input on the back of the capture card. We're not going to use the HDMI out for the graphics card or the capture card unless you plan to run it to a monitor, but that's not something I needed. And then take the Thunderbolt USB-C and run that up through the arm into the laptop, and I'm about to show y'all right now. And I keep my capture card right there. If I can get it to focus. And that's ran from the PC to the in slot of the capture card, and then I have the output not being used, and then the middle Thunderbolt cable running up the arm and going into the side of the laptop. So we have the gamer computer attached to the capture card via HDMI, and then we got a USB-C cable run from the capture card to the streaming laptop. Now we want to download the correct software. So just put in Google or Bing. We want the Elgato 4K capture utility, and this should be downloaded right here. This should be downloaded on the streaming laptop because the USB-C is what controls and gives power to the capture card. So the gaming computer really doesn't do anything besides just push video to it. So download this on the streaming laptop. I'm showing you on the desktop just because that's where I have all of my recordings. Once you have that downloaded, let me see if I have it open. We want to go into, where is it? The 4K capture here. And this would be done again on the streaming laptop. Go to your settings here at the top. Go into General. and then check for updates. Now that you got all the updates downloaded and the drivers and whatnot, you can test the picture on the streamer once you've taken a few clips of yourself or the stream or whatnot, and you can adjust the brightness, contrast, saturation, and hue. I wouldn't go more than maybe 5 to 10 points either way. It could seriously distort it, but it won't hurt anything. You just put it back to 0 and start over, but you can make micro adjustments here to make things look a little bit better. Next, for your streaming laptop, Google the NVIDIA drivers and you should get to this page. And this might autofill for you because I believe it can sense what hardware you're dealing with. And like I said, you would do this particular part of it on your streamer. I'm doing it on a desktop right now just for showing. And this would say something like 490 notebook or 460 notebook or whatever, but you'll click find. And if you don't have this filled out, just put it in like this. And depending on if you have Windows 10 or 11 or the 3060 or whatever you have in your system, click find. And for the streamer, you'll download NVIDIA Studio driver. And for the gamer, you'll do the Game Ready driver. Just go ahead and download those, get them installed. This will ensure that everything's communicating with each other, from NVIDIA to OBS to the Elgato capture card. Just everything functions smoothly. And then the Game Ready driver is just going to make sure that, you know, while you're playing the game and your other PC's doing the streaming, that you're also having a very smooth experience with the gaming, getting as many frames as possible like everybody wants, and getting as best quality in your studio streaming as possible as well. So we've got everything connected, all the downloads made, all the updated drivers. So now let's get into the meat and potatoes. First thing you want to do on your gaming PC, right click, go to your display settings, and you should see 2 displays now. Check and make sure your main display is whatever resolution you want it at. You can go in here also to make sure it's at the hertz that you want it at. And then click over here and you'll see, if you go to advanced display, that the 4KX can do 4K, but it's stuck at 60 hertz. This is important. You want to click on the one that is the capture card display and make sure this is set to extend these displays. If you try to do it at duplicate these displays, it combines the two and it takes the lowest resolution and forces both monitors to be the same. So as you just saw, the capture card is only able to go up to 60 hertz. It's still 4K, but it's stuck at 60 hertz. And if you duplicated the display, your gaming monitor, which was 240 hertz, is now 60 hertz. You can still stream and everything like that, but you don't want to take away from your gaming experience. That's why you wanted a 2 PC streaming setup. So make sure that it's an extend these displays. It's very important. That'll give you the best gaming experience, the best streaming experience. If this looks familiar, you've probably seen me streaming live Battlefield 6 all the way, but we're going to get into how to utilize that capture card now. We've got the 2 displays, and basically the 4KX is being treated from Windows as just an extra display that you can't see. And mine is set to the right of my gaming monitor. So you could think of it as, and sometimes you'll open applications that will go to that screen depending on what happens, and you have to move it back over. But just think of it as an extra display. So within OBS, you would have, you know, your display capture, which is my OBS stacked on top of each other. Your video capture device, which would be me. Hello. And then your audio input, which right now is set to that, but that's not what's important here. What's important is we want to utilize the capture utility. So Since it's a 2 PC setup, you don't want to stream using OBS on your gaming system, which we're on right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click the main screen here, or left click it first, then right click. And we want to go for open source projector. And then pick the 4K X capture card, which I already have kind of open, so you can see like a projector preview down here, but it's on the other monitor right now, or capture card. Now that is sitting in the capture card. So whenever you go into OBS on the streamer computer, which I'm about to show you. So we're going to pretend we're on the streamer computer right now, and this is a new scene. There's nothing in your sources. Right now I'm having to have things in my sources because I'm currently recording, but you wouldn't have anything on the streamer. All you do is click this plus button, and we're going to add video capture device. And well, let's say it wouldn't have a 3 because you wouldn't have anything in here, but it would say video capture device 3. Just hit OK. And then it would open up a window, and then you would pick the 4KX capture card. That's all you got to do, and then hit OK. But since we're on the gaming computer right now, it doesn't show up. But if you were on the streaming PC, just pick the 4KX capture, and that's going to take everything that you just projected onto the capture card and put it into the streamer's OBS. That takes care of everything. That'll have like your webcam, your display capture, everything. All right, so now for the fun part, the audio. This is the more complicated of the two. The video is actually easier than the audio. So if you remember from my last video, I had suggested that you not only get the Elgato capture card, whichever one matches what you're trying to do, but get the Stream Deck Plus with the XLR attachment. I've switched to the XLR. And since you bought it together, you know, it's already put together. You don't really have to worry about unscrewing the back and putting the XLR port on the back of the Stream Deck Plus. But just run the XLR cable from the mic to the back of your Stream Deck Plus. It makes things so easy on the gaming computer. This is all done on the gaming computer. And that gives you the ability to go back to the Elgato downloads page, and you would have access to Wavelink. Let me bring that up for you. So Wavelink would be right here. Awesome program. Download it. Make sure you go to the settings within that app and make sure that all of the drivers are updated and all of the fun stuff. All right, so we've got Wavelink downloaded, drivers updated. First thing we want to do is adjust the system Windows settings to be routed to the right spot. So let's just go home real quick, go to system. We'll go into the sound settings, and depending on what headphones you're using or software that you're using, I route my immediate output to the SteelSeries Sonar gaming program, which is basically GG, and I'll show you all that here in a minute. That's my output. And for the input, I don't know why it's on the SteelSeries Sonar. That must have recently changed. And that's another thing. Whenever you restart your computer and whatnot, sometimes it'll just up and change on you. But your Elgato XLR dock enabled is where you want to have that input going. And then I go in, click this, and also use as default for communications. All right, we got the Windows audio settings done. So now we want to open up Wavelink, and your very first input right here is going to be your microphone. You would use the drop down, and mine is currently set at the Elgato XLR dock. But it would be whichever mic you're using. If it's the USB, you'd have to go into the Motive app and then route that to Wavelink. But we're just using the XLR dock on the back of the Stream Deck Plus. Makes things very simple. Now, you have two outputs at the bottom. The monitor mix, which would be what you hear while you have your gaming headset on, which you want to hear everything except for maybe yourself, which is why I have this muted up here. That is attached to the outputs down here. And so this would be your stream mix. And that's the most important one because that's what your audience hears. So you have the monitor mix, which is everything you hear, and then the stream mix, which is everything your audience hears. And as you can tell, I have no audio input right next to it right here coming from my microphone because I don't want to hear myself blaring through my computer speakers or when I have my headset as my monitor mix. So make sure this, being your audience stream mix, is set to the Elgato 4KX. This is important because through OBS, projection to the capture card is giving the OBS on the streaming computer all of the video to your audience. And that's OBS is where you would be streaming from. So your stream mix in Wavelink is sending the audio real time to the capture card as well. And so that mixes with the projection from the OBS and creates your audio input. And in OBS, let's say you're on the streaming computer, your audio, you don't have to add anything like to the OBS because you're just going to take the audio from the video capture because that's also going to flow through the 4KX. So just make sure that you don't have it double put in there on the streaming computer. It should be very simple, as the only audio you need coming into it is what you've already set in there. Because if you add, I don't know, say something else in there, you could be recording yourself twice on the streaming computer. So it's important for the wavelength for the stream mix to be set to the 4KX capture card. So now we have audio and video going to the capture card. The rest of this in here is, let's say, the game, right? Anytime the game you open, like Battlefield 6, it's going to go to the game part. And as you can see, I don't have it muted on the monitor mix because I want to be able to hear the game while I play it. Also, all audio from the in-game chat will be heard by you as well as the stream mix. You can play around with this. I also have voice mod for sound effects, and I have the Stream Deck plugged into it because I use the Stream Deck to play sound effects from voice mod. And if I'm on my browser or something like that during a stream, I don't want my audience to be hearing what I'm doing, but I can hear it. So you see I have it muted to the stream. So if I was playing something on it, but you can change this to however you want it. But these are all the inputs. And as you can see, my input into the game is from SteelSeries Sonar. Okay. Which is attached to the headset that I have, which is the SteelSeries Nova Elites, and its program is set to the GG app, which we already went into the Windows settings and had it routed there. So So far, we've dealt with the microphone, your sound. Now we want to deal with game sound and pretty much everything else. So since we have the output set to SteelSeries, let's open SteelSeries. So here's the SteelSeries app. I have it set to Battlefield 6 for game. And the reason why I send it to SteelSeries first is because it already has the audio interface to make the best experience possible per game that you play, or all the big games anyway. And it allows you to hear better footsteps and all that kind of stuff. And then I have it set to be sent to the Elgato XLR game. So that travels to Wavelink in my game settings of Wavelink, and then I don't have it muted on either monitor or stream, and so both me and the audience can hear the game, and we already have the 4KX stream mix, so everything goes straight to the capture card and the audience can hear it and all that stuff. So that takes care of your audio. And you can tweak it however you want. Like I have the gain turned down a little bit for the stream to better be able to hear me when I'm talking. And I have my monitor mix turned all the way up so I can hear the game crystal clear, because it's important for me to hear footsteps and so on. So, in turn, that's audio. This took me a while to learn, but I made it easier for you so you don't make so many mistakes. It gets confusing. You're like, where am I hearing this from? But you just have to pay attention to, like, as you can see my mic, I can see that audio is coming from that. So if you opened this and you're hearing something playing like your browser, then your browser would be going off here and you're like, okay, that's where it's coming from. So I need to go into my browser and exit out of it, or I need to turn it down, or I need to mute it, or whatever. Your voice chat through Discord, if I had a squad of teammates and we were all communicating through Discord, I might not want my stream to be able to hear everyone, to just let people focus on the game. Just depends on how you want to do it. But for now, I just let them hear whatever we're talking about. Is that a bad decision? Just depends on the people you're playing with, because you might have people talking about burning down an orphanage. I don't know. But to each their own. Some of that can be great, depending on your audience, because some people might not find that shit funny. I have a dark sense of humor. It might be funny to me. So just to clarify everything in here, your monitor mix, which if you are actively streaming, should not be your, regular speakers like I have right here. You'd want it to be your headset. Another quick little pointer, because it does get confusing. Each one of these knobs is just the sound from what's coming right here. So the game sound, whatever you have routed to your Elgato Wavelink game sound, these are the knobs for how loud they're going to be per what you can hear and what your audience can hear. Now, if you look down towards the bottom, these knobs are also what you can hear and what your audience can hear, except that is the volume for everything that's on the inputs up here. Okay? So this is like your end all be all. And you can set these to be knobs on your Stream Deck Plus, which is a godsend, because you don't have to go get out of the game, then open this app and then change the sound because it's too loud here or there. You can do it all from your Stream Deck Plus. It's a game changer. That's why I would say to just go ahead and get the Stream Deck Plus with the XLR dock as well, because it's just so much easier. And everything is linked in the bio, so you don't have to go searching all this stuff. You can, okay, I don't like that, I like that, I don't like that. So that's just so you know. So these knobs up here, literally whatever you have set in your voice chat, that only affects the voice chat. Everything in your game, these knobs are the volume for that. But the master volumes are down here towards the bottom. Also, some of these won't just appear. You have to put them in by add audio input. This is just to make things easier for you, and then it'll give you like a drop down. And I noticed earlier when I was doing this drop down, yes, that's just what I have it named, the Elgato XLR dock. I just didn't feel like changing that. But for the actual input, you would click in here for, say, your voice chat, or you can click in here for the game, and you can pick what you want to be put in there. You don't have to do the output you don't always have to do the output in the GG app to go to the XLR dock. You can just add it, and they should talk to each other. But if they don't, just put the output in GG to the Wavelink, and then open Wavelink and put the input as GG. So just to recap on that, your Windows settings, your output would go to the GG app, and then from the GG app you would put the output to Wavelink, so that way it goes through all, and that gives you the benefit of GG puts it into Wavelength, and then you put your streamer mix to the 4KX capture card, and then in your streamer PC you would just enable the audio from the video capture, and then you have audio and video, and then however you set it up in here. This is just to clarify for everybody, because it did get really confusing for me. The microphone's a little easier, especially with it being the XLR, because it just goes straight to Wavelink, and you can download the EQ to change your voice to however you want it to sound. But that would be the end for the audio portion. All right, so that should cover the video and audio all going to the 4KX, and you could now go into your streamer computer OBS and hit start stream, as long as you've already connected to whether it be YouTube, Twitch, Kick, TikTok, however you got it set up. If you can do TikTok on OBS anymore, I haven't tried. I think you have to do it through their live studio now. For any questions or concerns, just leave me a comment. I'll try and answer it as fast as possible. And sometimes I'll even take the video down to make edits because something wasn't very clear, and we can get that changed. I'm going to do a quick rundown of how I have my Stream Deck Plus and Stream Deck Mark II button layout set up for how I run my stream, that you could either utilize or changed up and put whatever else you got in there, and let me know in the comments what you did different, and maybe I could learn a thing or two, because I'm relatively new to all this. The next few videos that I make are going to be a little off topic, but I'm going to make some really good and spicy jerky, and I'll run y'all through the process for that. I know that sounds random, but I don't mind sharing it with y'all. It's really damn good jerky. The second video, which will probably be a couple months from now, is, and if I can make it work, I'm working with my internet provider to try and get a better internet source, is going to be multi-streaming, and I've never done that. So once I get that figured out, I will let y'all know, and hopefully save y'all some headache, because I already know it's going to be a headache for me, and TikTok streaming as well, as we were covering earlier. But for the next part of the video, I'm just going to do some quick things on my Stream Deck and how I have it set up, and we'll just go from there. All right. So for Stream Deck, the Stream Deck Plus anyhow, I have the A7 IV button right here at the top left, and that's just so I know that that's the main camera being used. I had the Facecam 4K, but once I realized the A7 IV could record streaming without overheating, I have since traded that back in and just got a different lens for my camera. So that's irrelevant. I need to change that. The other one is my Facecam 1080p. I use that for when I'm on pause and break. It's also within OBS. It's also live and looking at my keyboard when I'm starting the stream, so people know how close I am to beginning the stream because I'm either at my desk or I'm not. Next is to stop stream. That would be kind of like an emergency situation. Something is going on. I need to immediately stop everything and go. Mute a game that is used occasionally when I'm starting the stream and I want y'all to hear some music that I have set right here. The speakers, this button I use to switch between when I'm streaming. I click this button and it goes over to my headphones, and then when I'm done streaming I can click this button and it goes back to my computer speakers. Really convenient. So like if I'm done streaming and I'm done wearing my headset, switch it over to my speakers and I start web browsing or whatever I got going on. I also have a countdown right here. I haven't quite figured out how to get that to work, but it's there for how I plan to use that as another way to let fans know when I'm about to start the stream. I give them like a 30-second countdown as I'm doing some final adjustments. Now the big one for the knobs, I have the master output right here. I can use that to turn up and down the volume for everything within this is for monitoring actually, and the stream volume, which I have at 100%. It's just makes it easy so you don't have to go into Wavelink and do it. The system volume, which is typically just what I use when I'm just doing regular stuff on the computer and something's really loud, I gotta turn down real quick. The gain on the mic, if there's a lot of background noise, if like I have somebody over, I can turn the gain down, or if I am further away from the mic, I can turn the gain up. These are also clickable buttons. I have them just set to mute whatever the volumes are that I just showed you. Next, I have my, what do you call it? Next, I have my Spotify settings, a different song, screenshot that, different emojis for when I'm in chat. Now let's switch over to the actual Stream Deck, and I've got my key lights here when I'm streaming, and then I have multiple ambient lights, if you would say. I have different RGB lights. This one's my cam power because I use a dummy battery for my mirrorless camera, and I don't want it to be just always getting power. So once I'm done streaming and I turn the camera off, I also turn the cam power off because I have it set to a Govee smart outlet, and so I can cut the power to the camera. This would be my stream counter because y'all are a bunch of monkeys. And I have the starting button right here for the stream. That's just the scene in OBS, and this is all controlled from the gaming computer, but since it's run through the capture card to the streaming computer, everything's just plugged up to the gaming computer. Really, the only thing connecting the streaming computer to the gaming computer is that USB-C cable. So anyway, there's the starting scene, there's the just chatting scene, which I still have to figure out how to put the chat in there. I don't even know if I'll utilize that because, I mean, do y'all really care if you see all of the chat in the stream itself, because you already have the ability to see the chat from the screen you're watching on? So I don't know. Either way, the just chatting screen for when I have more viewers, I can sit there and chat with them for a little while. My gameplay scene, which is where y'all see me playing the game. The ending scene for, you know, hey, I'm about to shut it down and I might be going to bed for the night. And then I have a pause scene. That's if I'm taking bathroom breaks or I just have to get some things done around here real quick. And I'll let y'all know if you're watching me what I'm doing and about how long it'll be before I get back. On the second side, I've just got sound effects that I use occasionally, more sound effects on the third, but that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm pretty basic when it comes to using the Stream Deck, but it all comes in handy. And like the viewers one, it's not really a button. It just shows you how many viewers you have. So if you have like 0 viewers, you can hit the pause button and be gone for a while, because people will see the pause on the thumbnail when they're hovering over it and see that you're not there, and they probably just going to go to the next streamer. But it comes in handy, lets you know if you have people there. The key lights I have set with a sun background because they get bright sometimes, be burning your eyelids. So there's that. So that should sum up everything: the audio, the video, the streaming laptop, the gaming PC, the capture cards, the Stream Deck Plus, and everything that I used is in the description below. There is some things that I didn't include in that, like if you wanted to, because I didn't do this, if you wanted to hear the audio from, say, your Twitch coming back to you, there's a way to do it, and you just need like an aux cable, but with a static converter, or this thing that gets rid of background noise. So it is possible. I don't use it. I just keep Twitch right next to me on a different screen so I can watch for chats. But if you wanted audio to come through, it is possible. But that's one complaint that some people would make, is I can't hear, you know, different things from Twitch or YouTube or something. But it's possible. I didn't put any links. I know what the products are, but I didn't add them because I didn't use them, and I wouldn't recommend anything I don't use. So yeah. One other thing I didn't mention is, rather than using the HDMI out from the capture card to a monitor to see what all's on there and whatnot, I actually just run an HDMI from my streaming laptop into the desk around, and then to the left of my gaming screen I have another monitor, and that's where I just put the actual I put like either twitch.tv up there, and I see how the stream is doing from there, where I can keep an eye on it if it's stuttering and whatnot. And then I keep OBS and everything on the actual laptop screen, so I can see if I'm getting dropped frames or something's not working correctly and all that great stuff. But if y'all enjoyed this video, leave a like, hit subscribe, come back and see some of the content that I'm making in the future on whether it be beef jerky, traveling, multi-streaming, whatever. I'm going to try and break it down as best I can for y'all. Leave comments. Let me know what you would do different, what you have done different, what you liked about the video, what you hated about the video. Like I said, I do stay in my comments. I try to answer as fast as possible. And just so y'all know, I am starting my stream this afternoon on Twitch, which is username off duty, of course, but the O is a 0, so it'd be off duty. It should have the same thumbnail and all that kind of stuff as on YouTube. I'm only streaming on Twitch to get a feel for it. Eventually, once I get better internet, I should be multi-streaming to a lot of different platforms. But I have to work with them, because if they don't have the ability to get me the upgraded internet, it'll have to wait till May, because that's when I can move to where I could get much better internet quality to be able to multi-stream with 4K and all that great stuff. But again, like and subscribe. Come watch me on Twitch. Hell, watch me on YouTube when I'm on YouTube. And I love y'all. I hope to see y'all again. Hopefully get to see y'all in the comments. And hell, if you want to, send me a request on Battlefield and we'll play together, whatever. But y'all have a great day. Thanks.